Welcome to chapter 22 of Memoirs of a White Guy, and that was the only time I've ever actually had to clear my throat at the start of the podcast. That was very convenient for once. I'm watching the Super Bowl at the moment. It's Monday in Australia, which means it's Super Bowl Sunday in America. So it starts at like 10 a.m. on TV. So I was watching that. So if I get distracted or if I sound distracted any point throughout this podcast, that is 100% the reason why. And I hate it when girls are like, oh, guys can't multitask. Guys just can't multitask. Try again, sister. Okay, I can record a podcast while watching a bunch of dudes in helmets bash each other in the head, okay? And you know what? I just realized I can't because I looked at the screen and then kind of stopped talking. So I did it again. Yep, so you're right. I can't multitask. Girls are right. Shit. But yeah, I'm trying to record the podcast. Here's the thing. I was going to watch the Super Bowl first because every year I watch the Super Bowl. It's the one time of the year I watch American football. I don't claim to be into it the rest of the year. I hate it when white dudes do that. They're like, yeah, man, I watch American football. Like, yeah, it's like as if you don't watch it, bro. The Patriots, New York Giants. I'm like, name two other teams. And they're like, or the Washington Wizards? You dickhead. Shut up. So yeah, I don't claim to watch. Also, if you didn't get that, the Washington Wizards is a basketball team, not an NFL team. Some people who are listening to this just don't give a shit about sport, let alone American sport. So it's the one day of the year where I watch American football, and I was gonna watch the game, then record the podcast. But I was like, if I record the podcast while watching the game, I can film this afternoon, get two things done in one day instead of being lazy, wasting half a day, then recording a podcast. But I was already watching a bit of the broadcast before I started, and man, what's wrong with America? And there's going to be Americans listening to this raging their guts out, but like your national anthem, like after your, like it was some hillbilly sang the national anthem. He was like, from the land of the free. It was very funny. And I bet you he's like their Keith Urban or some shit. Actually, no, their Keith Urban is just Keith Urban because we've just tried to, they can have Keith. But I think it was some hillbilly country singer. And as soon as he finished like, and the brave, they all, like, legitimately, 50% of the crowd, one in every two people in the crowd, pulled out a little American flag and just started waving it like crazy. Why do you all carry around American flags? Do they supply them at the game? Like, at our grand final, people wave their team's flag. Like, if Hawthorn are playing Geelong, people will wave a Hawthorn flag at the end of the national anthem. Everyone's just going for America there. Like, they're like, yeah, we're about to watch, like, the Patriots versus the Falcons, but we're all going to wave America. Why are you waving your country's flag? Like, we get it, you're American, but you don't need, everyone knows that. You don't need to show the rest of the world that you're American. We get it, you're patriotic. It was so dumb. I actually started pissing myself. That everyone pulled out was like, go America! And I'm like, no, go the Patriots, whoever the fuck you support. I have so many problems with this broadcast. But anyway, it's interesting because one day a year I pretend to be like manly enough to be into like American sports. Like I don't watch basketball. I don't I don't hate it, but I don't follow basketball. I don't follow ice hockey. I don't follow baseball. And like once a year I'll be like, yeah, I'll watch the Super Bowl. But like, let's be honest, I'm only watching it to see Lady Gaga at halftime anyway. Like, oh, what's that? The game's still on? No, sorry. Let me know when Lady Gaga's ripping it up with Poker Face, then I'll be there. It's true. Like, I will probably pause the podcast and turn the TV off mute and watch that shit. Because she's going to do something super weird. Like, she's a strange person. She rocked up to, like, that red carpet once dressed in meat, like raw meat. Man, this is the Super Bowl. She's going to come out like riding a Komodo dragon, playing a violin while Just Dance comes on. It's going to be awesome, and I'm genuinely so excited. Like, maybe, I don't know, she's going to come out like She'll probably come out like dressed as Donald Trump or some shit. Like, it's going to be awesome. I feel like there's no way that, like, it will just be boring. That's why I'm keen for Lady Gaga's set. And you know that it's going to be, like, in the news. Like, it's going to be, like, a scandal. Like, the headline will just read something like, Lady Gaga births real-life chicken on stage. And everyone's like, holy shit, did she pop out an egg? But, like, no, she managed to pop out, like, a full-grown chicken out of her minge. And it's art. That's why it's going to be awesome, because it's not going to be like a sexual thing. She's going to be like halfway through a song like ma poker face ma. Oh shit! And everyone's like, "Oh my god, is that a chicken? What is that? Is that a mini Gaga? Is that what her kids look like?" I don't know. Either way, the point is that her set's going to be sick. And look, if that happens, I'm probably going to turn into a psychic. Actually, dude, if that happens, I need to get this podcast up before she births the chicken. Look, it probably won't happen, so I'm not going to rush it. But, yeah, actually, you know what else I hate about American sports? And I noticed this last year when I was watching the Super Bowl. After the game, when they announce the winners on the podium, and they do this in pretty much every American sport, I think, it's such an American thing to do. Like, so after the baseball, I'm not sure if they're in the basketball, but definitely after the NFL, watch out for it. They announce the winners as the world champions. They go like, and the world champions for the NFL is the Atlanta Falcons. And everyone goes crazy. And you're like, what do you mean no one else is competing. It's the NFL. It's the National Football League. Not international. You can't announce them as world champions when they're the only country that plays the sport. It's not impressive. That's like after our AFL grand final in Australian rules football, like if Geelong win, we're going to go, and the world champions of AFL. Of course they're the world champions. We're the only people who play it. You don't need to say it. Like, it's such a douchey, Americans, like everything. Watching this broadcast while I'm recording this is literally just like, it's the whitest thing ever, except for like the 8 dudes. I swear there's 8 dudes on one team called DeAndre. Like, the commentators keep going, and DeAndre gets the pass, and you're like, how can everyone call DeAndre? Either this guy called DeAndre is best on ground, or I'm just being racist, or the commentator's being racist, and every dude's called DeAndre. Either way, but this man, it's the whitest coverage. Like, there's cheerleaders on the side, and like every play is sponsored by Macca's. Like, there's so much advertising around, and like the companies pay a bullshit amount. Like, oh, and that pass there was sponsored by Subway, Eat Fresh. Oh, and then Tom Brady gets the ball, throws it, courtesy of Burger King. Well done, Tom Brady, putting away burgers and passes. Like, everything's sponsored, and it's just the most American. Oh man, every year I watch it because I'm fascinated. Like, I'm watching it now, and they don't do anything for a bit, but there's a lot of there's a lot of black dudes getting psyched before they don't do a lot, and there's a lot of white dudes like trying to be black. Man. Anyway, sorry, I just got sidetracked again watching the game. I'm going to what was I? This is what happens. I've talked about this for like almost 9 minutes now. All right, what was I supposed to talk about? I was supposed to prank you all at the start of the podcast, but get this, that was my prank. You guys were probably on edge that whole time, like, oh no, he said he was going to prank us at the start of last week. Yep. And I didn't. That was the prank. I'll be honest, I forgot about it until now, and I didn't think of a prank. Had all week to think of a prank, and that was the best I'd come up with. So I think that's the end of the pranks at the start of the podcast. Or is it? That's the thing. You don't know. That's how, I'm unpredictable. So, anyway, we've got to do the weekly fun fact. I was thinking after this week, you guys could start sending in your fun facts for me to read out, because I think it's becoming a very popular segment of the podcast. It's just where I read a really fun fact. We get the mood right up from the start. We just make it's like a satisfying kind of fun fact that puts you in a good mood for the rest of the day. That's what it's supposed to be. So if you want to send in an outrageously fun fact, send it in at luke.kidgell@gmail.com or my Facebook page. Send me in a fun fact with a question if you want. And I might read your fun fact. So today's weekly fun fact is, I'll just We'll just get it going right now. If a male lion takes over a pride, he executes all of the cubs. So, it's another fun fact. Nothing gets you in the mood for the rest of the day like a bit of lion execution. So, it'd be like the opposite of the Lion King, where Mufasa watches Simba die because he bit him in the neck and he bleeds out, and Nala couldn't do anything to save it. So, yeah, anyway, send in your fun facts. That was the weekly fun fact. Hope you all enjoyed it. I personally am more excited now to finish the podcast after that. So, yeah, send in your fun facts throughout the week. And, yeah, I look forward to reading them. All right, what was the first thing I wanted to talk about this week? Oh, yeah, so I forgot to talk about this last week. Luke Kidgell, attended and enjoyed a Panic at the Disco concert. It was actually great. And I know there's a few of you going, Panic at the Disco, that sounds familiar. Why do I know those words in that order? Now, what you're going to do is, you're going to cast your mind back to 2006, 2007. Stay there, get in that headspace. So back through My Chemical Romance, back through Fall Out Boy it was just when Fall Out Boy we're starting to get a bit shit. So, right then, that's when Panic at the Disco happened. And don't make the mistake, I went to Panic at the Disco 2 weeks ago, not in 2007. So that was one mistake I made. But you know what? I'm bagging it, but I loved it, man. It was so good. Like, it was actually one of the better concerts I've ever been to. Because, like, I'm a massive fan of them. Like, I've been a fan of them since, like, I was in, like, year 8 or whatever. And then I was like, man, if they ever come out to Australia, I'm totally going. So I went with a few friends. And, yeah, it was awesome. And I didn't really have that high expectations. Because I was like, it's probably not going to live up to 14-year-old Luke's expectations. Man, it was better. Like, they had, like, a full brass band behind them, like saxophone, trumpet, tuba. It was really cool. And they played, like, Bohemian Rhapsody, like, grand piano, and they killed it. And, yeah, it was sick. And but the one thing I wanted to talk about, though, was fangirls. I don't get the fangirl thing. Like, I rocked up at about 9:20 p.m. and Panic at the Disco, the main band, they came on at about 9:30. So I didn't queue up. Everyone was already in there. I just kind of walked in, and then I kind of just, walked through a few people, worked my way to the front, then just enjoyed it comfortably, watching the concert from, like, the mid to the back on the floor. I was like, whatever, this is, I'm just happy to be here, happy to have a sing-along. Then I knew a girl who was waiting in line since 9 a.m. that day. So for 12 and a half hours, it was a hot day as well. She waited out in the sun for 12 and a half hours just to be, and she only ended up about 15 meters in front of me in the crowd. But because there was a bunch of other girls that got there the night before and slept out just to be in the front row. And those girls were probably only 20 meters in front of me. 20, just to be 20 meters closer, they slept out in the cold at night and then sat out in the sun all day. How can you like a thing that much? How can you physically force yourself to be interested in... Dude, I wouldn't do that for anything. I can't think of... Maybe... I would do it if I could meet Barack Obama, Oprah, Bear Grylls, and Chuck Norris. So if I could meet those 4 people in a row at the same time and maybe like go bowling with them all, then I would sleep outside for a night, but not for 2 nights. Nah, not for 2. I would do it for 1. But Panic at the Disco are not Chuck Norris, Obama, Oprah, and Bear Grylls combined. They haven't done 1 roundhouse kick between them. So I don't know what the appeal is there. And I couldn't get over it. And these girls, and I asked her, I was like, oh, was it worth it? Like, you were only 15 meters in front of me. And she's like, yes, it was worth it. I had to be there. And yeah, I would never understand that. And I just think it's something that maybe you just have to be, because I've always been a fan of music and I've been a fan of things, but I've never been fan enough to sit outside all day. Actually, I wanted to be at the front at the Foo Fighters concert, and I got there at like like 5 or 6 p.m. and doors opened at like 7. And I was near the front because, like, yeah, and Foo Fighters fans not as weird. So I was like, oh, I'll just get there 2 hours before. That was the earliest I've ever got to anything. Like, anything ever. I've never attended an event that early before. And I felt weird. I was like, why am I waiting for, like, you know, there's just a bunch of dudes who are good at playing guitar, like, essentially. But yeah, anyway, I will never understand the fangirl thing. Not a very funny rant, I'll be honest. I just don't get it. It's like, why like something just because... And there was one point in the show where he took his top off and everyone lost their fucking mind. And I'm like, it's like, you haven't... Fair enough if you got his dick out and some of them had never watched porn before. But I was just like, what? It's a nipple. But, like, if I got on stage... Like, that would never happen in a comedy show. Like, if I, like, got on stage and halfway through my set just took my top off, everyone would be like... What are you doing, dickhead? One of these girls would be like, put that shit back on. Keep telling your jokes, mate. Like, it's such a different thing. Music and comedy show. Like, everyone was losing their minds, screaming, going mental. He said anything. He was like, how you going, Melbourne? And everyone's like, whoa. And I was like, how you going, Melbourne? Everyone would stare at me. And I'd be like, you can participate. And they're probably like, yeah, good. I'd be like, all right. So, it's great to be here. And everyone would be like, just tell your jokes, mate. Get off. Like, it's just, like, I think the closest thing to a rock star comedy has is, like, Kevin Hart and, like, maybe Jim Jeffries. But Jim Jeffries has, like, a real, like, just everyone has a lot of respect for him when he, like, walked on stage when I went. But it wasn't, like, a rock star. Like, Kevin Hart had, like, a real rock star, like, post pictures of himself boarding private jets and stuff. He's created that, like, rock star image around him where he probably has, like, a lot of fangirls. But I don't reckon any comedians at all would have chicks that would, like, wait outside for 10 hours. No comedians have that. It's such a different thing. And I think it's just because, like, they have talent and we don't. We just tell dick jokes. So I get it. But, you know, I would just never understand the fangirl thing. Anyway, actually, this was pretty funny. When I was there, I decided to put that I was at the concert, like that I was seeing Panic at the Disco live on my Snapchat story. And I knew the reactions were just going to be completely varied. I was like to my mate, I'm going to cop like 50% of the response is going to be dudes telling me to kill myself. And the other 50% is going to be from girls going, oh my God, I wish I was there. And that's exactly what the ratio was. Every guy was like, oh, you fucking douchebag. What the hell, man? You shouldn't put this shit in your Snapchat story. Unfollowing immediately. And all these girls are like, oh my God, I was there. I didn't see you. Girls are so much nicer than dudes. Dudes can't be nice. It's the problem. I always cop shit of dudes. Like, dudes can never message you anything nice at all. Like, their feedback is like, hey man, hate your shit. Ha, just kidding, bro. It's alright. Alright, got a question for the podcast. Why can't you just be like, hey man, really like your stuff? Guys can't give compliments to other guys. Girls will be like, oh my God, I'm such a huge fan. And I guess that's the fangirl thing, and I don't understand that. As a dude, I feel like no, but I don't do that. Like, I'd be like, I just wouldn't. Anyway, I'm rambling. This is a rambly podcast. What's next on the thing? Panic at the Disco. I've written bullshit. I've just written down fangirling is bullshit. I don't know why I thought that would be a good thing to talk about. Oh, yeah. Actually, that reminded me during the week when I was thinking about Panic at the Disco. I got asked a question like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Oh, it might have been longer. And I didn't really have a good answer for it. The question was, what was your biggest fuck up on stage? Like when doing stand-up comedy. And I didn't really have a good answer for it at the time, but I've since been reminded of... I think I blocked this out of my memory because I felt so bad after I said it. But the worst thing I've ever done on stage. It was so mean. It was at like an open mic room. There was like 20 people in the audience max. And so that means you gotta be nice to everyone or they'll just hate you immediately. And I think the person before me had bombed. So I was kind of like, damn, this is gonna go well. So I got up there. And because I'm an idiot, there was a girl in the front row that had like orange hair and like a black top and like really strong eyeliner on. She was just sitting there minding her own business, like next to her mum. And Jesus Christ, this is making me sound like, well, it is, because this is just me being an asshole. I shouldn't even be telling this story. But and I went up there like Luke Kidgell, and I got the microphone out of the microphone stand, looked the girl who's had like the eyeliner and all like the, you know, she's dressed like a bit of a goth, but just completely minding her own business, looked at her dead in the eye and went, "What are you doing here? This isn't a Fall Out Boy concert." And no one laughed, understandably, like just completely rude. And as soon as I said it, I was like, why would you say that, Luke? And that was easily like it wasn't the meanest thing I've ever said on stage. It was just she didn't heckle me. She was just she was being lovely. She was actually listening and smiling at me when I walked on stage. And that's what made it so mean, because it was just completely uncalled for. And to answer the question from a few weeks ago, to answer it honestly, I completely forgot about it until literally I saw a bunch of fangirls, like I saw like a bunch of girls who did look like her at the Panic at the Disco concert, and then I was like, oh shit, that reminds me of how much of an asshole I am. How bad is it when you do that to yourself? You think of like, you're at one thing enjoying yourself and you're like, woo, this concert's sick. And I looked at a girl that looked similar and then I had a flashback to me being an asshole on stage, and it just bummed me out for the rest of the night. And I was like, you're a dick. Oh, I'll talk about it in the podcast. And then I was like, that's probably the worst thing I've ever said to someone on stage. And I was like, I got asked that the other week on the podcast, but I didn't really answer it properly. So yeah, that's the honest answer. Like it happened like 6 months into comedy, like when I was doing it. So I was pretty new still, and I don't know, just panicked, said something dumb. Oh well, I regretted it. So let's talk about something else. Had to talk about this. So 2 days ago, I think it was, I witnessed something so fun. It was so funny, actually. I don't know why I didn't put it on my Snap story. I was too busy laughing, actually. I was just waiting. You know, like you by yourself and something's really funny, but you want to share it with people. So but it's good. I have this outlet. I've told like 4 people already about this story. So I was in the city. I was walking down. I got to a busy intersection, and you know, there's sometimes those guys that offer to clean your windows, like with a little squeegee. Well, there was a couple of those guys there as well. There was one guy, right, and I was kind of waiting for the lights, and he had 3 juggling balls in his hand, and he was pressing the button like really eagerly. I'm like, dude, that's not gonna hurry up. Why do people smash the shit out of the button at the traffic light crossing? You know, it doesn't make it go any faster, like it's on a cycle. Man, people are dumbasses. Anyway, I've done it before when you're in a hurry, but it doesn't help. It's so stupid. Anyway, so I'm like walking across, and this guy's like smashing the button like really eagerly. And then right as soon as the button turned green, it was like he knew when it was going to turn green. He runs out as soon as it turns green, and then stops in the middle of the intersection, turns around to face the cars waiting, and then just starts juggling. And I was walking across like, holy shit. And the best part was he was competing with the window cleaners. So like, there was one guy in the front, like the first car was getting his window cleaned, while there was another guy trying to entertain him, juggling, but he was being blocked. And you could tell the window cleaner, they'd been probably doing an afternoon. And I really wanted to know who was making more money. Totally the window cleaner, because the window cleaner was like trying to obscure the person in the front car's vision, so he couldn't see the entertainment that was being provided, so the other guy wouldn't get a tip, and just the window cleaner would. It was the most competitive thing I've ever seen. So I stayed around and watched it. I just stopped, and I was like, I'm going to watch this for another light cycle. And they did. So that was the first light cycle. Everything went smoothly, but the only thing, the guy was only juggling 3 balls. Like 3 balls, man. Are you serious? Like, that's not even impressive juggling. He was clearly like a circus reject. He was juggling 3. I can juggle 3 balls. Like, I almost have that many testicles. Dude, I almost have 3 balls. So it's not impressive. And I was like, whatever. Okay, so I stayed around. I was like, this is incredible. I've got to stay and watch this again. So I stayed, and I was almost missed my train because I stayed around to watch this. Anyway, so as it got to the end of the light cycle, the little green crossing guy started to flash red, which means you have to get off the road. The juggling guy stopped juggling and then ran down the middle of the cars quickly and like had his hands out like did anyone like asking for tips, because he juggled 3 balls and like one person gave him a tip. So I was like, whatever, I got to stay around and watch this again. Then the second time it was even better. Same thing happened. He was smashing it eagerly. And then as soon as it went tick, 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 he runs out in the middle again. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And he started juggling But he dropped the balls twice in the one light cycle. I was just like, my heart went out to him. I was like, dude, you've got two hands and you dropped two balls. Like, just hold one in each hand. Oh my God. I was like, I would have made more. If I'd have gone the opposite traffic light and done the same thing, I would have made more money. But I'm just not going to juggle for money. But he was by far the worst street performer I've ever seen. Just and a completely incompetent street performer trying. It wasn't even performing. Is juggling like a skill? I don't think three balls is a skill. Anyway, it made me angry. But when he dropped the ball, it was hilarious. To try and hide the fact that he was shit and he dropped it, he picked it up, but he didn't look. So when he reached down to pick up the ball, he continued making eye contact with the first car. So like he was smiling at them and he wasn't looking at it, and he was fumbling his hand around feeling for where the ball had dropped next to him while still continue to maintain eye contact. And then he found the ball, then slowly raised up, still maintaining eye contact, then just kept juggling again. I'm like, dude, we all saw you drop it. You're not hiding anything. You're not fooling anyone. You're an idiot. Anyway, but it was funny at the time. But it kind of ruined my day. Like, at the time, I was like, wow, that's so great. What an interesting thing to see. Some guy sucking at juggling at the traffic lights. And then on the train home, I was like, oh my God. Like, that's that guy's day. And it ruined my fucking week. I just felt bad for him. Like, he must wake up every day and be like, I'm going to be a juggler. And then he can't juggle. Like, all I'm saying is don't go straight to the busy intersection in the city. Start off go to the suburbs, start off on local streets, juggle at traffic lights there, get good, get some confidence up, maybe bring in a few bowling pins. Once you can get 5 bowling pins going, like confidently not dropping them, then take it to almost a city, take it to Richmond. And then you're doing that in Richmond, you're like, oh yeah, I can do the thing. By the time you're in the city, you need to be on a unicycle juggling 8 knives. Okay, that's worth $2. I would tip the shit out of you. If some guy did that, or you need to be juggling while sword swallowing or deep throating a cock. Either way, it's impressive because it's distracting. So I don't know, just that guy, I just couldn't believe how incompetent he was at his one skill. Like, the window cleaner guy was better at window cleaning than that guy was at juggling, and that's why I was making more money, man. Get better at your skill. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. Then, point is, don't juggle in the street if you can't juggle. That's my advice to all of you listening. Any of you thinking about going out and having a juggle this week? Don't. That's the perfect advice. Just don't. Anyway, let's move on from juggling. We don't need to talk about shit buskers anymore. Let's answer some questions. I've got a fair few to get through this week, so let's just begin that. The first question is from Ethan. It says, "Hey Luke, great page/channel. Love the content and podcast especially. Thank you, Ethan. I have a question though. So one of my mates got himself an average looking girlfriend who goes to this school for dancing and stuff like that. It's literally a chick paradise for a teenage boy like myself. So I've sort of become friends with her in the hope that she can set me up with one of the very many attractive girls at this school." This guy's on it. This guy's good. Yeah, that's a good tactic, man. The girl she was trying to set me up with isn't that good looking though, but seems nice enough. But my question is, how can I end it with this first girl she has set me up with without looking like a dick and destroying our possibly unstable friendship in the hope that she will set me up with a better looking friend of hers? That you can't really do this without looking like a dick, because the fact that you're judging a girl by her appearance, not her personality, is you being a dick. So, have you ever thought, I bet you this never occurred to you, Ethan, that your female friend who's at this dancing school, she mightn't have set you up with the hot girls because she mightn't have think you're a chance. Yeah, bet you that never occurred to you. She might have set you up with one of her ugly friends because, I haven't looked at you. I don't know what you look like. Maybe you're not the best looking dude, and maybe you're being a bit picky. So, how about you be nice to this not attractive girl before you go for one of the hotties? But look, I'll answer your question seriously. If you're doing advice on how to be a dick, or you want advice on how to not look like a dick, the best way to end it with the first girl, I think the best way to end it, especially with someone who you're just talking to and not actually seeing. The best way to end it, I would think the nicest way is literally friend zoning them in the nicest way possible. So it'd be like, for an amicable end to this thing, you'd be like, hey, I feel like we're more, I feel like we're just such good friends. I don't want to ruin that. So pretty much friend zone the shit out of the girl if you think she's getting into you, but you don't want to be with her. And then it's not a dick way, because you just being like, oh, I think we're more than friends. I mean, she'd probably get a little bit cut, but it's better than you ending it with her like, hey, babe, sorry, you're just not hot enough for me. I'm Ethan. I'm the fucking man. And then she goes and tells all her friends at the dancing school, oh my God, Ethan's a jerk. And then you're not a shot with any of the hot ones. So definitely, yeah, my best way would be kind of let her down real easy, saying, oh, we're just such good friends. And, she might be lovely. If you don't actually like her personality, that's going to be hard to even fake that you're friends. Well, then just be like, hey, just not my type. Not my type is kind of rude, though. That's just saying you don't find you attractive, pretty much. Anyone can see through that. But yeah, I would say friend zone the shit out of her would be my advice. Good luck, Ethan. Hope you get with some hotties. So, because obviously Ethan's the man and he's got really high standards for chicks. He's like, yeah, man, don't set me up with them 6 out of 10s. Give me them 8s. Where them 8s at? I'm Ethan. All right, look, this is what I do. I don't know why you guys sending questions, because I just bag the shit out of most people who ask questions anyway. All right, next question is from Will. Hey, Luke, got a question. If you were one of the many animals that you have talked about on the podcast, which one would you be? This is a cracking question. So it's pretty much out of, what did I talk about? Magic turtle, fat bird, drunk bird, or black sheep. Definitely not the black sheep, because, I want to have rights and freedom. And, I want to have the right to vote before 1966. So, not a black sheep. I'd be a white sheep, but I haven't talked about that in the podcast. Nah, to be serious answer, it'd have to be, I wouldn't want to be a fat bird because of diabetes. That would suck. And also, they can't fly. That was why it was funny, that story. Just, waddled away and, fell off the pole it was on because it couldn't fly. Drunk bird would be cool. He'd be a bit of a loose unit. But, look, I'd have to say it's magic turtle all the way. What? That's awesome. If you're a magic turtle, you could Expelliarmus the shit out of birds. Avada Kedavra, the real mean ones. Just, yeah, absolutely. Actually, you know what you'd be? I'd be more like a kind of Zen magic turtle. More like Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda. Maybe I saw Master Oogway. Oh, shit, that makes way more sense. I was thinking my theory was Professor McGonagall did transfiguration and became a magic turtle. But no, it was Master Oogway the whole time. And that would explain, because there's a peach tree nearby at the golf club. He just disappeared into flowers. Oh, man, I saw Oogway. Anyway, if you don't get what that is, he's the turtle from Kung Fu Panda. He's like a spiritual old turtle. Whatever. Get a better taste in films. But yeah, to answer your question, Will, I'd be a magic turtle. It wouldn't be a normal turtle, because I don't want to be bullied by other animals about my lack of sprinting ability. Because being a turtle would suck. Imagine trying to get laid, and then you couldn't because you're a turtle. And you just she's drying up over 20 meters away. She's like, oh my God, come on, come over. And you're like, oh, I'm trying. And he takes half an hour to get there. But if you're a magic turtle, pff, bang, straight for a clit. That's why you want to be a magic turtle over a regular turtle. Although regular turtles, they would never suffer from premature ejaculation though. Because I feel like they couldn't bone another turtle at a speed where you'd blow that early. Anyway, what am I talking about? Now I'm talking about turtles coming. This podcast just goes from really nice, innocent animal chats to if I was a turtle, how would I get my dick wet? No, I need to stop. Anyway, last question. What's the bet that this question will also be oh, Luke, how do you talk to girls? It'll be something to do with talking to girls. Okay, $100. They genuinely 90% of the shit I get is. Oh, yep. Far out. This is from Corey. Hi, Luke. Love your shit. I'm having a bit of trouble with the ladies. everyone, I'm pretty sure it's just like Virgins Anonymous, this podcast. Like, no one, like, can someone who just fucks regularly email this podcast, be like, hey man, I'm having too much sex with a really beautiful girl. Got any ideas on how to tone it down? That's never a question. It's always like, man, I'm trying to get laid. Please help. Like I'm like the messiah of how to get vagina. Like, dude, I don't know shit, okay? I've had a girlfriend, I've had the same girlfriend for 3 years. I mean, I'm just looking at this from like my mates and, you know, like what I do. Like I'm not the best advice on how to pick up chicks. I don't know why so many people ask me. Anyway, he said, I'm having a bit of trouble with the ladies. At the start of the year, I had a few classes with a particular person called Nathalie. Do you mean, I think he's tried to spell Natalie, but maybe her name is Nathalie. Anyway, before this, we sort of knew each other, but in the first half of the year, we became very good friends. Yeah, you did. Then my feelings started to change. I started to drop subtle hints, and I wasn't sure if she didn't notice them or just ignored them. Yeah, girls sometimes are pretty oblivious, man, but she could have been ignoring them. One day after class, I was walking down the stairs, and out of the corner of my eye, I see her come towards me. This is like in a movie. She puts her hands around my shoulder and said, "Hey, Corey, my best friend." Yeah, man, she was ignoring your hints for sure. Sorry, I shouldn't have laughed, but that's friend zoning hard. See, that's what... Who was the other guy? What was the other guy's name before? Ethan. That's what Ethan should do. So the girl who from the dance class walk up to her and be like, "Hey, my best friend." You should and then she gets Corey'd. That sucks. Anyway, so Corey helps Ethan there. Their problems are like different. Actually, no. I was just giving you all shit. The first dude, Ethan, was actually trying to turn down. He did ask for advice on how to turn down vagina. So you're right. I do get some advice on how to do the opposite, but it's mainly how do I pick up chicks. All right. So she put my hand around my shoulder and said, "Hey, Corey, my best friend." My heart sank, and I luckily held in the tears while she was there and my friend was watching. Oh, now I feel bad for laughing. The next week, I mustered all my strength and asked her out in a chance to escape the friend zone. Dude, that was a mistake. You've already been friend zoned. But yeah, I guess one last ditch attempt. It failed. I cried that night. Every now and then, I think about her and it saddens me. And now I'm a dick again for laughing. Sorry. Yeah, that sucks, man. That's brutal. But, you know, good on you. You gave it one last attempt. Man, that's ballsy. Like, you would have surely been like, I'm pretty sure she's going to say no to this, but I'll have a crack anyway. Also, she works at the cinema, and me and my friends often go there, and she's always serving. And my mates always give me shit after she serves us. This year, oh, that's so brutal. But at least, you know, at least you might be able to get mates rates, because you're really good friends, so you might be able to get a discount. That's the one good thing about being in the friend zone. You get friends rates from her. So ask for cheap popcorn next time, and that at least might make up for the rejection that you're probably feeling. This year, I don't have her in my classes, but she sits near me and my friends during lunch. Also, some of my friends have her in their classes, and they say that she misses me. What do I do? Yeah, look, man, she probably misses you as a friend. What you do is, though, you rock up with a hot date to the cinemas, and yeah, then you rub it in her face. That's what you should do. I think girls like that, they kind of expect, or she mightn't just have any attraction to you at all, but she might also have a little bit of attraction for you, but then kind of expect you to always be around. So if you move on to another girl, she might be like, "Oh my God, I really miss Corey. Maybe I should speak to him again, and maybe I shouldn't have rejected him." You know what I mean? Like, I think the best thing is moving on and then rocking up with like, it's so petty, but rock up with your date to her cinema. Be like, "Oh my God, so weird. I had no," like, check her roster, make sure she's working, and then be like, "Oh my God, I had no idea you're going to be, that's so weird. Anyway, meet like Belinda," and Belinda's like, "Oh my God, I'm so hot. I'm the new girl who's making you jealous." And don't tell Belinda what you're doing. And then and then your Natalie is going to be like, oh my God, Corey has got a new bae and it's not me. OMG. And then she's going to eat popcorn and ice cream for the rest of her shift because she's going to be depressed and or hungry. That's either way. And touchdown. I don't know what they call it in the American football. So, anyway, I'm still watching the Super Bowl. I haven't really referenced it for half an hour, but yeah, what was it? I can't believe I actually haven't got distracted that much. That was one of the first times I've got distracted throughout this entire podcast. So go Luke. Almost did two things at once for a good half an hour. So yeah, what you want to know what I do? I would say move on. That would be I know it's brutal and I know you probably still like her, but try your best to move on because it's not you liking her, and just because she tells people that she misses you, she probably just misses you in her life because you were really good friends and she considered you as a friend, actually as a best friend, because she put her hand around your shoulder and said, hey, best friend. So yeah, she's going to miss you as a friend, man. But if you want to still be more than friends with her, I'd suggest move on, and then she might realize that she's made a mistake. Other than that, you might just have to accept it. But yeah, that's what I do. Move on to old Belinda. Rock up to the cinema. Oh, new girlfriend. Cool. That's the end of the podcast, I think. I'm going to try and film another video today. I'm going to finish watching the rest of the Super Bowl while I finish writing the video. And yeah, life's good, man. Life's good indeed. Oh yeah, quickly before the podcast ends, in a couple of weeks or maybe next week, either way in the next few weeks, I plan to have my girlfriend on as a guest of the podcast because I know it'd be cool, like you guys get an insight into, I know she's a very important part of my life and I don't really speak about Emily that much. So I'm going to have my girlfriend Emily on the podcast in a few weeks. So if you guys want to send in questions specifically for me and Emily to answer, it could be any type of relationship question. It could be about our relationship, whatever. If you have any, we're not going to answer gross shit. Okay. So you can still send it in, but I'm not going to answer that like gross shit in the podcast with her. But, yeah, she said she's happy to come on the podcast. So I thought that could be a fun episode. I've already got a question about how we met and stuff, so I'm saving a bunch of girlfriend-related questions for when she's on the podcast. But yeah, I thought that could be like a fun episode. Yeah, so Emily should be on the podcast in a few weeks. Send in questions if you want to ask her shit about me if you want. Actually, don't do that, but it'll be funny, so do that. Anyway, thanks for listening to the podcast. Melbourne shows are still on sale. I was supposed to talk about this at the start, but I forgot because I'm a dickhead. I added 6 more shows to my Melbourne Comedy Festival run, which was really cool. Definitely nerve-wracking now, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm only doing 6 shows. I should almost sell them all out. And now I spoke to the venue because I was like, I'll just do another week. So it's kind of dumb, but yeah, I'm hoping that you guys all still want to come. So keep buying tickets during the week. That would make me feel, if you're planning to come, but you just haven't bought tickets yet, can you buy them so I don't freak out? Like, it just makes me feel way better about myself going into the shows knowing that there's going to be people there. So, yeah, if you want to buy tickets to the new week of shows, it's all on sale at my website, www.lukekidgell.com/shows. Yeah, so that's the thing. Keep on signing up to the mailing list. Heaps of people have been signing up this week for some reason. But yeah, join the cult. It's the shittest cult in the world. It's where I announce all my shows. Interstate shows are still being organised. Sorry for the wait on that. But yeah, it should only be a few weeks away now till they're announced. And yeah, have a good week, lads and ladettes.